Hi everyone, it's been a long time I've uploaded videos in my channel. This time I'm concentrating on augmented reality and virtual reality. Today's topic is a human perception for AR and VR. So before getting into this topic, I would like to give a small introduction on AR and VR for the beginners. So, augmented reality and virtual reality are both technologies that enhance human experiences by recreating or blending environments. So, the main difference between AR and VR are the devices required, the experiences, and the level of interaction with the real world. For example, if you take the devices, augmented reality can be accessed with a smartphone, whereas virtual reality requires a headset and a computer hardware. To put it in simple words, so augmented reality, we say it overlays digital imaginary onto the real world, allowing users to interact with both the real and virtual worlds. Whereas virtual reality creates a fully virtual environment that replaces the user's view, immersing them in a fictional reality. So, what they say is when we overlay a digital imaginary onto the real world, we call it as augmented reality. Whereas virtual reality is we create an entire virtual environment and giving the end user a fictional reality. So why we have to go for augmented reality is augmented reality enhances users environment by adding virtual elements, creating dynamic and immersive experiences. It provides real-time remote assistance in various fields. For example, AR provides enhanced product visualization. For example, it showcases the products in a more interactive and immersive way. For example, in Amazon, Flipkart, and all, nowadays, if you touch a product, if you want to buy a chair, you touch a pro, we can touch the product, we can rotate and see, and we can even place that particular chair or furniture in our home, and we can visualize how it looks in our home. So that is what enhanced product visualization. So that kind of effect is given by the field called augmented reality, and it is also into virtual try-on and personalizations. So nowadays it is been there are developments in virtual try-on clothing, accessories, and even cosmetics, and it improves training and remote collaboration too. For example, uh, in flight navigation system for pilots and all, it allows the employees to practice and learn in a safe and controlled environment. Similarly, virtual reality provides enhanced education and training. Like it creates an immersive, interactive environment that improves the learning and simulate real world scenarios. And it has shown advancements in healthcare too, like surgical training and medical procedures. It enriches its experiences whereas it has kept his remarkable achievements in gaming experiences. And they say VR is a future for the scientists. And if we see the market growth, as of now, the global market value for augmented reality and virtual reality is from $30 billion in 2020. So it can be, they have predicted like it can be more than $520 billion by 2031. So now this augmented reality and virtual reality is playing a vital role in all the fields. So now getting into the topic, human perception for augmented reality and virtual reality. Human perception. Before getting into human perception for AR VR. So what is human perception? how we see a thing, how what kind of perspective we have. If we see a ball, we see the color, we see it is round in shape, and we touch and feel. When we bounce it, we hear the sound, and when so it for example, the human perception, when we how we see an object, how we hear it, how we smell it, how we taste it, how we touch it, that is what human perception. So that human perception has to be brought when we develop a product in AR VR. So that is what. So what are the necessary things to develop an object or a product in AR VR? So that is what we are going to see today. So it aims to influence and manipulate our senses to create immersive and realistic environments. So aims to influences, like we use some algorithms, we use some technique, that is what influencing, and manipulate. So what is manipulate is, you create an object. So that object you are trying to touch, you are trying to grab, you are trying to rotate, you are trying to scale it, like you shrinking or expanding. So that is what influencing and manipulating. So what is, like when you design and when you try to design an AR VR experience, what is the aim is to influence and manipulate our senses to create immersive and realistic environment. So as I told you before, as how we see an object, what kind of human perception we have on a particular object, the same perception we should try to bring when we design an AR VR. So these are the VR IO taxonomy. So input can be an audio, it can be from a camera, it can be from keyboard clouds, it can be from GPS, and it can be from gyroscope magnetic. So these four is familiar: microphone, camera, keyboard, GPS. This what is this gyroscope magnetic? So this gyroscope magnetic, I'll tell you, this is there in all our smartphones. So in our smartphones, there is a chip called IMU chip. So this IMU chip is functioning with three main things. That is gyroscope, magnetometer, and accelerometer. So these things, like for example, when we try to capture a video when we are traveling, so at the time, without any shake, it captures video and it saves it. So how it does is it with the help of this gyroscope, magnetometer, and accelerometer only. So that is, it's a kind of sensor. This is a kind of sensor input. So with these inputs, what are the outputs possible is, like if it is a microphone audio, it is a speaker. And if it is if you are capturing something from the camera, the output will be an image. Keyboard gloves, motion vibration. So this motion vibration we would have experienced when we play games in a mobile. For example, in all shooting games, when the enemy is nearing you, so we used to feel a vibration in the phone. This everybody would have felt. So that is what motion vibration is. So it is telling you that enemy is nearing you, you should be ready to shoot it. So that is a kind of output. And see the last two, this is emerging technology, emerging output we are trying to bring. There is a smell and taste. It is very difficult to bring. So, but they are trying to bring the smell and taste to as outputs. So visual perception. So when we develop a AR VR product, the main thing, we cannot give a 2D picture or a 2D developed world. So it should be represented in a 3D form. So only when we represent an object in the 3D form, we can make the end user believe that the virtual world is real world. So the first main thing is 3D representation. The second one is field of view. Field of view is it simulates the size, position, and field of view. For example, when a bird is flying near you, we see the bird big, and when it flew far away from you, like it is traveling a meter long away from you, the size of the bird shrinks. So it will be observed small for your eyes. So that is what field of view is. Okay, so that field of view, that point of contact, that center point of contact, that is what we call it as field of view in AR VR. The third one is presence. So when we develop an so this presence AR, we cannot say the presence, because in AR the user will be both in the real world as well as in the virtual world. Whereas in virtual reality, the user will be in the virtual world itself. So we should make the end user feel that they are physically present in the virtual space by forgetting themselves the real world. That is the third, the mind perception we should be able to bring. Then, as I was discussing about the field of view, so we see these two pictures. So this is the ideal content area for the human. So this is where the place we should keep the major objects we develop. And if you see the second picture, they say from minus 32 degree to plus 50 degree is a comfortable zone for the human eye. So that is a place where we should place the objects. Minus 50 to plus 50 is, they say, it is strenuous. So there we should not place the objects. So this field of view is restricted in augmented reality. Like we should always keep the important elements in the center area, in the ideal content area. So we discussed the 3 points already. So visual perception, as first we should represent the objects in 3D representation. Second, we should consider the field of view. Third one is the presence. The fourth one is the vergence accommodation conflict. So what is to say this? Let me tell you an example. Now, suppose we are sitting in a hall, when a very big hall and a very lengthy hall. So there is a cultural program happening. One of your friend is going to perform culturals on stage. You want to record the culturals in your mobile phone, but you are sitting somewhere behind. So what we'll do automatically is we'll try to zoom it and we'll record the video. So that is what vergence accommodation conflict is. See what they've given. Eye convergence for near objects and lens focusing. We will focus the lens in such a way for the eye convergence of the objects. That is what vergence accommodation conflict is. So next is immersive experiments. This is obvious in augmented reality and virtual reality. So whenever we say augmented reality and virtual reality, immersive, we are trying to bring the immersive experience for the end user. So that we should concentrate. And next one is the spatial cognition. Spatial cognition is how we human navigate through spaces, perceive distances, form mental maps, etc. Um, for example, when we play games like Road Rash or some other games, um, like a person jumping, taking points, and he or she is running here and there over a train, over a bus, under a subway. So in such a way, when that particular object or when the particular avatar is running, that the system should automatically calculate the distance and the distance, and like when the object has to go under the subway, it has to bend and it has to go under the subway and it has to jump on the other train. It has to make a jump from left to right or right to left, etc. So these things also we should take into consideration, like how we human use navigate the complex space, perceive distances. The same way we should develop the AR VR experience too. So the spatial cognition also we should take into consideration. Next is the spatial audio. Spatial audio is when we hear, when we go to theaters, or when we hear some Dolby Atmos audios in home theaters, or when we are in car, when we play some HD songs, we can hear the bird chirps along a side, from one side of speaker. A car, if it is a car traveling speed, we'll be hearing from other side, and a song from another speaker, and we'll get different kind of BGMs from different speakers. So the same kind of experience we should also develop in AR VR too, in such a way it makes the end user believe that they are in the real world. So what are the other sensory modalities, like auditory perception? So auditory perception is, that is the same as our spatial auditory, that is incorporating the spatial audio to enhance the sense of immersion and realism. Next is tactile perception. Tactile perception is haptic feedback, that is providing the user the sense of touch. Okay, so nowadays there are AR, VR, we have keyboard gloves, we have glouses, we have joysticks and all. So with that, we can make the end user feel the sense of touch. And the last one is the challenging output, olfactory and gustatory perception, that is incorporating the smell and taste to enhance the immersive experience. So, what are the challenges and considerations when we develop an AR VR? So, the first one is cyber sickness. So, to avoid this, when we try to develop a virtual system, so we should always incorporate some diversions in the system, so that we will not make the end user fully immersed in the environment for long hours. So if we engage them in long hours, so there can be nausea, dizziness, and disorientation. So this cyber sickness has to be overcome. Then next is user comfort. So user comfort is like, so we need to consider factors like latency, that is the delay between the input and output, motion blur, and visual fatigue. So the latency is when you try to shoot, when you press a button, immediately the enemy side a bullet has to be passed. So that is what latency is. So motion blur. So there should not be any blur. The audios and the visuals should be very clear. Next one is the visual fatigue. So visual fatigue is like, um, for example, if the person is an Oculus Rift, if you are making the user to drive in a roller coaster, so that it should be, the AR VR should be developed in such a way like the user should feel that they are really riding in a roller coaster, going up and down, left and right, twisting around. So that is what we say visual fatigue. So that will give a more comfortable and enjoyable experience for the user. And the last 2 points is like perception versus reality. So we have a perception, so that should be achieved as a reality. So that is what this one. So this perception and reality, it varies among the individual experiences and expectations. The last one is ethical consideration. So ethical consideration is, so we should not manipulate the human perception, and it should not be misused for any other cause. So in such a way, the AR VR has to be designed and should be delivered. Thank you.